let's talk about death, man. Death. This is getting way too deep. I'm not even 10 seconds into the video. Okay. Balding Young, it gets better. This is a video that's getting a lot of comments. Undying Will had this to say, quote, "Wow, you talk for him like he's dying. Come on, he's just losing his hair, not life." To which I responded, because I've made videos about this before, I said, quote, "I have discovered that for many of my subscribers, the fear of hair loss is much greater than the fear of death." To which he responded, quote, "Yeah, it's depressing, but even if you fix your hair problem, you will not be fully satisfied. Another problem will occur, like eye problems, leg problems, hearing problems, or whatever. For sure, hair loss is not their biggest problem, but they ignore other real dangerous problem and holds on for their hair. If you really sit and think about what will be your problem when you get over 60 years old, then you can be more careful to your eyes, ears, bones, teeth, prostate. You can cure outside, but you will die on the inside." You know what? I think that's an intelligent response. And Dying Will is becoming like a guest star on my YouTube channel, carrying the conversation along in this journey of hair loss. So this is a nice little conversation. And I feel it's important every so often to revisit that and to bring us back down to reality. It is true, hair loss is not fun. And I don't think anyone would choose it, right? I mean, because I always say, it's in your DNA to either be balding and bearded or to keep your hair but struggle to have body hair and keep a good beard. For the most part, we're pretty much predestined to be one of those. I would assume most people, if they could choose, they'd rather keep all their hair even if they could barely grow any facial hair. I would assume that's what most people would choose. But it's not up to us, right? And it's just interesting because that matters more to people than the fear of death. And so a lot of guys watching my channel, what happens is you're 19 years old and you're seeing, oh wow, I'm Norwood 1 or am I Norwood 2? I can't really tell. And trying to sort that out. Like for example, I'll give you an example. I recently did that video talking about 5 ways to know if you're balding and 5 things you can do about it. And then in the little description, I put a link to my blog post, because remember I'm a blogger too, and it takes you to the written version of the video. And something you'll see on that, you'll see I did a side by side for Norwoods 1, 2, and 3. I did Ryan Seacrest as my Norwood 1. I did Adam Levine from Maroon 5. I did him as the Norwood 2, and then for Norwood 3 I did Heath Ledger. But for the Norwood 2, it actually was Adam Levine. Now, you look at this guy, obviously he's known as a very good-looking guy. But if you look carefully at his hairline, you'll notice it's actually Norwood 2, which we've seen him with a shaved head, we've seen him with different lengths of hair. He doesn't have a receding hairline. He's not losing his hair. He doesn't have hair loss or hair thinning going on. He does have a Norwood 2. He does have a little bit of the V shape going on that you can notice, and you can see the 90-degree angles. He's not balding, he's Norwood 2, which is where a lot of people are that watch my channel. They went from a hairline that was like this, you know, a couple years ago when they were a teenager, then to a Norwood 1 with temples receding by, you know, age of 19, and maybe getting closer to 20, they're getting closer to the Norwood 2. And it's scary because I've said it before, my theories, once you cross to Norwood 3 before the age of 35, that's a major indication that you are going to be a guy who loses most of his hair through most of his life. So it's a scary thing, and it is like death. It is to be so young, you know, to barely be 20 years old, and to think, okay, well, maybe I'll be like Nick said, I'll be like Nick, and I'll lose most of my hair throughout most of my life because I'll already be Norwood 3 by the time I'm 35. Because if you're Norwood 3 before age 35, then you probably are going to lose most of your hair. That's one of my theories. But see, that's the problem, is that most of the people that worry so much about this, that comment and watch my videos, and I know this because I see your videos, I'm sorry, you send me emails with your pictures, so I see you, I know what you look like. And what I see is, it's Norwood 1.5s and Norwood 2s mainly sending me pictures, and they're young. So it's that scary time where, like, as long as you can maintain a Norwood 2, you could be Norwood 2 the rest of your life, according to my theories. But the unknown is, will you go to Norwood 3 or not? So it's a form of dealing with death. And I think maybe, perhaps, it's a more relevant way for a younger man to consider the possibility of death. Because when you're 20 years old, you're not thinking, I'm going to die. Some other guy might die at my age, but I'm not going to die. I'm too young. And that's how men are wired at that age. So since there's a disconnect there that, hey, you could actually die in a car accident, hey, you could get cancer tomorrow and die, the way their brains think instead is, I could go bald. And I get it. I get it that it's greater than death in their mind. Whereas they don't think about dying, they do think about losing their hair. And it's funny because for me, you know me, I don't care about losing my hair. As for death, yeah, that's a pretty serious thing for me, you know. I've got a family that would be left behind, and I feel pretty good about my life, and I've got a lot more that I want to accomplish. And then let's face it, there's the great unknown, you know. No matter what your faith, your religion is, whatever you believe is going to happen after we die, none of us can know for certain what's going to happen. You know, like for example, and since this is already kind of a weird video about death, let's take it a little bit darker, and then I'll just end it, and you'll be depressed. But it's funny because like I've thought about this, like what if in my Christian religion that I'm part of, what if I was wrong about my own faith and someone else's religion was right, and in their religion I go to hell for eternity and burn in flames because I chose the wrong religion. Like, I can't prove what's going to happen after this. In my mind, I have faith on my own religion and my own faith. But let's hope that I chose the right one. You know, there's all kinds of things like that. That's what's relevant to me. And as I'm saying this, you're probably thinking, wow, I didn't even think about that, Nick. You're taking this to a whole different level. And it just kind of shows, again, I'm 36 and a half, you're 20 or whatever. Our brains think differently. We have different fears and anxieties. Even if they're subtle, even if we're not thinking about them all the time, maybe they're going on in the back of our head, and that's what we're thinking about. So I don't think it's crazy for younger men to worry more about hair loss than death. I don't think it's crazy. I don't even think it's ironic. I think it's completely relevant for that mindset. And I think it makes a little bit more sense as you get my age. You have more to lose because you've got more established as far as your life. So death is something that you want to avoid. Whereas, and you think about, but hair loss, you've already moved way past that. That was back in your early 20s. And look at me, I'm 36 and a half. Glad you brought this up, and I hope you're not too depressed.